How are we?
I'm actually awful. Truly at an all-time low. But you see, we just have to keep moving because otherwise I'm scared.
In the words of the immortal boy band 5, you've just got to keep on moving.
Yeah. Honestly, the world has never been a darker place. And I feel like I've become deeply aware that as an adult, you know, when you kind of saw in your parents, like, let's say from when you kind of were aware as a child, so let's say like 4 or 5 years old, between that age and like 18, like you just didn't notice your parents changing.
Yeah.
And then just suddenly when you like left home and come back, you'd be like, they're actual grown-ups. They're actual older people now. I feel like I don't have a child to notice that, but I feel like I've become an actual adult and a real grown-up. And I don't like it. I don't want it. Take it away.
I will just say, you're 31. So you are not yet in your first season of Sex and the City.
No, I'm pre-meeting Carrie Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Like, we're still early days. Then why am I so tired?
Because you work very hard.
Thank you.
And you have a very full-on dog.
I do, yes. For the listeners that don't know, my dog Jed is a border collie, and therefore most of my life is spent outside just watching him run around, really. I also didn't name him Jed. He came to me with the name Jed, which I think is
kind of sign,
fate.
A symbol from the universe.
Yeah, I think so. But welcome back, welcome back all to Queer Gals Watch the West Wing.
And we are dipping our toes, Fiona, today. Well, first of all, we're back alone again. We've not got a guest with us today. And I think that's only right.
Yeah, we're slumming it in our own homes.
We're slumming it in our own homes. But also, I think it's only right because I think it's important that it be just family for us to discuss
truly.
This film this week, which so many of our listeners have requested, unlike the rest of the films that we watched.
Which no one asked for.
Which no one asked for.
Have them.
But everyone has been like, no, you must watch American President. It's the origin story of the West Wing, is what was my intro. Therefore, this film was in no way what I expected.
Nope. And Lee, I've got some truly deranged thoughts about that. Just so you know, so hold on to your hats. You said, let's dip a toe in. I actually feel that we should fully immerse ourselves.
Yes, let's just
plunge. We'll plunge ourselves into this movie.
Let's dive into this film like a cold plunge on a January Sunday.
Honestly, I can't wait to roll back to 1995 and
I have so much to say.
I have so much to say. So we are watching The American President, made in 1995, written by our boy, Aaron Sorkin, our lad, our good time guy.
At this point in his kind of ingenue phase.
Yeah. He's just a writer. He's just scribbling down some thoughts on a page. And it's directed by Rob Reiner. Now, Rob Reiner is a kind of stone cold legend in the game. Director of The Princess Bride.
Whoa.
Also, When Harry Met Sally.
One of my all-time favorite films.
And then obviously just like really important films like Stand By Me and A Few Good Men. But obviously I thought I would lead with Lee with The Princess Bride and When Harry Met Sally.
And that's very correct. Yes, very good. Very correct.
And so, Lee, I'd just like your hot take as to why is this film important? Just a little kind of fun, buzzy phrase for you as to why this film is important.
Dare I say the beginning of the sex positivity movement?
I love how Irish you are that you couldn't say sex positivity without stumbling over the word. Sex positivity.
Sex positivity.
That's okay. You can go to confession after this, Lee. You'll need to.
But seriously, I think Adam Shepard, I believe, as a single president of the United States, truly walked so that Hugh Grant in Love Actually could run.
He really paved the way for high-flying, like high-powered political man wanting a woman and people being like, you can't have that. Like I think, is it Andy? Andy Shepard. This is kind of a key discussion point, actually. So we'll move on to movie synopsis and tagline, and then we'll come back to just Andrew Shepard, the man, I think should be our starting point.
Excellent.
Perhaps.
Perfect. Love that.
So the movie synopsis, so just kind of the AI-generated description from the internet is, American President Andrew Shepard is running for re-election when he falls in love with an environmental lobbyist. The single father is torn between his country and his love.
I would say that one of the main themes of this film is that, from an American perspective, premarital sex is unpatriotic.
Yes.
That seems to be a key theme.
Do not bone unless you are married, I think is just the absolute be all and end all here. Otherwise, as a woman, you're a whore.
Yeah.
I think is the big takeaway.
Which I think, is realistic in terms of a public reaction. I don't think we need to lay that at Aaron Sorkin's door.
No, if anything, he's probably underplayed what it would be like.
Yeah.
I like that she's both a whore and a threat to national security.
Crucially. I mean, as was Anne Boleyn. Do you know what I mean?
The true mistress of history, Anne Boleyn, yeah. Lee, what would your honest synopsis be?
I think this is pretty accurate. I would say Andrew Shepard, lovable rogue / widower.
Yes, agreed.
Gets his groove back via an environmental lobbyist with a really, really questionable at times pixie cut.
Yeah, that's honestly, Lee, I think that's what should be on the internet, because I also perhaps think it could be horny hornbag American President Andrew Shepard gets his groove back.
Feet gal pal Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
As AJ.
Okay, amazing. And this leads me on to the tagline. The tagline, Lee, for this film, seriously, the tagline for this film is, why can't the most powerful man in the world have the one thing he wants most?
Which is sex.
Yes. Which is hot, no strings attached sex with a redhead.
Aaron Sorkin, as always, asking the important questions. Why can the President of the United States not bone?
Yeah. And I think he's asking a really pertinent question because, I mean, we really pushed that line with Obama because he was sexy as hell and he and Michelle are a hot couple. But realistically, no one really wants to think about the president shagging.
I believe you are quoted previously on this podcast as saying you don't want a president who you don't believe fucks.
Yeah, true. That's correct. And I think that's why I like this film so much, is that I was like, yeah, go get some.
Yeah.
Like, just go get some, buddy. You deserve it. And you work really hard and she's really nice. And so you want to have a couple of dinners and have a few whiskeys and fuck. That should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You're a grown-ass man, but we'll get to this. So let's talk a little bit about Andrew Shepard. First of all, this is a big hitting cast. Andrew Shepard is played by none other than Michael Douglas, a.k.a. Mr. Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Future hubby thereof.
And watching this film, I'm like, yeah, she was onto something because he's pretty sexy in this film for like a white dude.
Yeah, he kind of blends into the president from Independence Day for me.
It's like
he's that genre of man
with just like a peppering of like a kind of Richard Gere energy.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah.
And with just like a sprinkling, like a little dash on top of Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm.
Like this era of man, which is just kind of like middle-aged, and I say this with respect. Middle-aged man.
Middle-aged is not a slur.
No, I don't wish it to be perceived that way. Middle-aged man with the same haircut that all men had in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Touch of salt and pepper in the hair.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing predominantly a suit.
Mm-hmm.
Walks around and kind of says quite witty stuff.
Yeah, I will say, having watched some of the absolute trash that we watched for our movie specials,
God, yeah.
I did have to recalibrate watching this film to kind of keep up with the pace of the witticisms once more. Going
back to Aaron Sorkin writing after some of the hot garbage that we have been watching was, it was like being on the like school holidays and then coming back like to a math lesson.
It felt like the hit of cardio post-Christmas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do feel like you've had 6 coffees.
Yeah.
And you're like tasting colors. I also, Lee, would like to proffer, this is just a discussion point for us, which is Aaron Sorkin actually a great romantic comedy writer?
I think so. In many ways, perhaps the Jane Austen of our generation.
I think that it has brought me great comfort to think of Aaron Sorkin, typing away on this manuscript, scribbling notes in the margin, and then just settling down under a cozy little blanket with a herbal tea and watching When Harry Met Sally or Sleepless in Seattle and being like, I could do that. And he can.
He can.
And I think it's important for all of the big boy, grown-up, smart writing that he does, for him to just know that he's just a boy standing in front of his typewriter, penning one of the greatest love stories of a generation.
Yeah, it's, as you said in your voice note to me after you watched this, it's a rom-com for boys.
It's a rom-com for boys. And this is why I have found it very, very interesting that a lot of the people I've met like in person who've said, oh, you do a podcast about the West Wing. Have you watched The American President? I was like, oh, no, I haven't. But they've all been men. I'd say most of them in their sort of 30s through to age 50. And they've all gone, it's an amazing film. I love that film. And looking back on that in retrospect, I'm like, how interesting. Because it's a romantic comedy.
And yet not one of them has mentioned that it's a romantic comedy.
I thought what we were going to watch was a movie length version of a West Wing episode.
Same.
I did not expect people to be getting all sexed up. I did not expect there to be like star-crossed lovers.
No.
I didn't expect, broad slapstick comedy. But I mean, I kind of did because it's Aaron Sorkin. He loves a bit of slapstick. But it was very, very interesting to be like, oh, like he's just done it. He's just managed to package a style of film which predominantly, especially in the 90s, was focused towards women and just tricked boys into liking it. And that for me is unbelievable. Tricking boys into liking stuff that on paper they say they don't like, but deep down they really do, is one of my favorite things. So for that, Aaron Sorkin gets flowers from me.
Absolutely. Also, I love that each and every man that said that to you must be just a little bit in love with Annette Bening. And I love that for them.
She's hot in this film. She's hot, but like kind of in like a sort of Cynthia Nixon adjacent way, which is like, she's very...
It is very Cynthia Nixon Miranda, Sex and the City.
She's very like slender and tall, and she's wearing these quite like boxy outfits a lot of the time. And she's got this really short, like red pixie cut.
Which at times looks phenomenal. At other times,
deranged.
It is styled in a regrettable fashion, but I'm sure was kind of very on trend in 1995.
But in 1995, I feel like it's a kind of mad not to have, it feels like it would have been a bit alternative to have your female lead not be mid-length blonde-haired white woman, because that was very much the kind of type, wasn't it? It was Meg Ryan.
Totally. I mean, Meg Ryan in When Harry Met Sally is also very much in the kind of like boxy suiting, but obviously famously she's got long hair.
So it's interesting in that respect.
Yes. Just one more point on Annette Bening's hair. Not to make the whole film about Annette Bening's hair, but I do wonder, when did Hillary get the cut? Because the cut was very Hillary. But I don't know if maybe Hillary was inspired to get the cut by Annette Bening in this film.
I think either way is interesting, which is either this film came out, Hillary went into the hairdressers, showed them a picture and was like, give me the Annette Bening, or Hillary had the cut and the producers and hair and makeup designers on this film were like, we must give her the same haircut.
I'm looking at a photo of Hillary Clinton in 1995 now, and she's very much in a shoulder-length bouncy blowout.
Oh my God.
So the pixie from Hillary was definitely late 90s.
Yeah, okay, stunning. Well, I love
Inspired by American President and Annette Bening, no doubt.
No doubt, yeah. Also, just once again, laying some flowers at Aaron Sorkin's feet, but...
Let's not inflate his ego too much, but... Go ahead.
He's not listening to this.
But spiritually,
he doesn't give a fuck about us. I enjoy a film that's about people finding love in their 30s.
Yeah.
/ maybe 40s. Because Annette Bening was 38 years old in this film. She looks fucking incredible.
Incredible.
I'm not sure how old Michael Douglas is, but I'd say his character's kind of giving early 40s.
I would agree. Mm-hmm.
We're saying that his daughter Lucy is, what, 13, 14?
I mean, it very much to me is giving Clinton from start to finish, what with the focus on a big crime bill and the kind of teenage daughter who's very much a kind of Chelsea Clinton stand-in, I feel, in ways. I will just say also, Aaron Sorkin absolutely loves an extended in memoriam style opening credit sequence.
Yes, I thought that the opening credits were very, very funny because they were incredibly dramatic, kind of like a historical film directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I thought we were going into like kind of a war film.
Again, why I was really confused as to why we were in a rom-com 10 minutes later. Not even 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes later.
Yeah, and just absolutely like Andrew Shepard just really out of the gate with some really letting us know that he's in an Aaron Sorkin production from moment one with some of his kind of witticisms. My personal favorite being from our kind of Sam Seaborn stand-in who immediately appears.
Oh, Michael J. Fox.
Lewis, yes.
Yeah.
Lewis is kind of somehow Sam Seaborn and Josh Lyman fused.
Combined, yes.
And
I would agree.
He asks Lewis how much coffee he consumes in the morning and if he could please reduce it by half.
I don't drink coffee, sir.
Then hit yourself over the head with a baseball bat, would you please?
Yes, sir. It's very Jed Bartlett coded.
It's very fun. I was also very emotional because we immediately have Mrs. Chappell, who's very much a Mrs. Landingham.
Yes. But I think with less twinkle, the actor playing Mrs. Chappell doing a fine job, a very lovely job, performing it beautifully, as written. But I think we learned from Mrs. Chappell, and Mrs. Landingham just has that little twinkle.
Mrs. Chappell is giving a little bit more kind of waspy Bunny McDougal energy than the twinkle.
Also, shout out Bunny McDougal.
What an absolute legend of television.
Dinner with the McDougals.
But then I found it immediately very jarring because Martin Sheen comes in and calls him sir. And I was like, whoa, very different seeing Martin Sheen not as the big guy.
Yeah, it. And I do think I kind of struggled with that the whole way through. I wonder if I'd watched this before The West Wing, if I wouldn't have so much. I just feel like Mr. Sheen has so much gravitas. It's just hard not to, like, he just has so much status all the time.
Yeah.
And actually, it is interesting how that must have played into casting for The West Wing, especially with like casting Leo, because as the chief of staff, you do have an extraordinary amount of power. But there's got to be something different to the energy that the president has. Because in this, I was like, I kind of felt like AJ was pulling the strings. I was like, AJ's running this show. Mainly because Michael Douglas was sort of running around buying flowers for most of the film. I really enjoyed from Lewis the kind of back and forth about the kick-ass section that was dropped from a speech. But sir, that was a kick-ass section. And I was like, Sam Seaborn?
Yeah, literally. I was like, has someone stolen Rob Lowe? What's going on?
Yeah. I really liked Michael J. Fox in this. I thought he was phenomenal.
He was so great. Yeah.
For a character that actually didn't have that much screen time in the end, I thought he was amazing. And we'll get on to his big speech that he has towards the end of the film, which I really loved. I put at this point, we're about 5 minutes in all capitals in our shared document, are we watching a work in progress showing of The West Wing?
So many of the characters are just like so immediately traceable to who they become in The West Wing.
It was like this was the script that he was sending out, being like, do you think this could be a TV show?
Yeah.
And then they were like, lose the love story. And then we'll talk. For those who don't know, work in progress showing is like, or work in progress is like a term that is used in theatre and stand-up, where you kind of take an idea and you sort of work it out on its feet for the first time and get feedback.
Yeah, it's very much the kind of like in maths class when you have to show your work and show your process. That is a work in progress. And people will kind of be like, you might have your notes up on stage with you. And
people often give feedback at the end.
Yeah, and there might be a show stop because something goes wrong.
You might just pause and go, sorry, I haven't worked this bit out yet, but it's going to be something like this.
Yeah.
And that was this movie to me.
Yes. Not to say that it wasn't an extremely pleasurable hour and 50 minutes. I had a lovely time.
Oh, also the perfect length of film.
Yeah.
At no point was I bored, which again, I was many, many times in all of the other films we watched.
In Independence Day?
Oh, no, not in Independence Day, but that's just on another level, isn't it?
Goodness me. I will also say I was very touched to see the dyspraxia representation in The West Wing from when the glasses-wearing staffer arrives. What was his name?
He was in it quite a lot, but I can't remember. Let me look it up.
As a deeply, deeply clumsy person who at 31 still often struggles with left and right, I really enjoyed that particular staffer, who was actually kind of the only staffer where I'm like, you don't have a direct correlation with a character coming into The West Wing.
The character's called Leon Kodak, and he's like he's like in charge of the polling.
Yes.
So actually, in The West Wing, we don't really have an equivalent for him until we meet
Joey Lucas.
Yeah. So he kind of feels like there's some origins of Toby.
Also some origins of like both Josh and CJ's physical comedy.
Yes, agreed. But like, I feel like Leon Kodak got left out of The West Wing, but like the kind of fun parts of his character got broken down and just like portioned out to everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah. So we find out early doors that President Shepard is a loving single father.
And a widower.
Now, before I knew he was a widower and I just thought he was a single father, I was like, would never get voted in. Like, genuinely don't think the American people would vote for someone who was like co-parenting with an ex.
Oh, no, because they'd be like, it's messy.
Yeah, that's not real American family values.
Mm-hmm. Which is hilarious because Donald Trump has so many exes, but I guess it helps that he like currently has a cohesive unit with Melania and their son together.
Sure. Let's leave that there, shall we?
Let's just move on. Yeah.
Should we talk about our prototype for CJ Craig?
Robin. Yes. Oh, clearly Aaron Sorkin loves a woman in the position of press secretary.
Mm-hmm. We loved Robin. It was also great to see Anna Devere Smith again, our friend Nancy from The West Wing.
Oh my, I knew she looked familiar, but I didn't recognize her because her hair is so different at this point.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the Get Me Something Else to Wear, I Look Ridiculous fame.
Yes. I think she's given more to do in her character of Nancy in The West Wing than she is. I felt she was not given enough really as Robin to really let the character sing. He hadn't quite found what he landed on with writing CJ yet.
I think the tough thing with Robin, with Leon, and with AJ, and with Lewis is the film wasn't really about politics. It was a rom-com. So like, we didn't get to see the cutaway scenes where they were doing their job. So then when we did have scenes with them, like you couldn't go hell for leather like we have in The West Wing, where they're like all in the Oval Office and they're all like getting into it, because we wouldn't have seen any of the process to getting to that place. So every conversation kind of felt a bit pedestrian. Now, that's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. It was just very different. And I do think that every single outfit that they put Robin in was a fucking crime.
Yeah. It was unfair. She was done a disservice.
So badly. Like, what a gorgeous woman. And they dressed her in heinous clothes, like really horrible, like 80s cuts.
I know. And it's like when you are getting it so right, so consistently with Annette Bening, why are you not doing the same for a woman who's similarly very professional character and probably needs to be dressed quite similarly? Like, there wasn't a single outfit from Annette Bening's character that missed for me. And they're similar ages. Like, I just don't understand why Robin was dressed to look so dowdy.
So dowdy. And I feel like, you know, we have Annette Bening's character, Sydney, who's this like very high-flying political operative. We have the other woman that she works with the like short black bob.
Oh my God, I was absolutely obsessed with Janie's energy from start to finish.
No, not Janie, not the president's EA, but the one the lady that works with Sydney.
Oh yes. She was very glam.
She always looked amazing, as did Sydney's sister when she turned up. Always looking pretty cool.
Sydney's sister was low-key lesbian coded for me.
Yeah, for sure. We can get into that. But I felt aggrieved on Robin's behalf, but it did shed some light for me on the styling of CJ in season 1.
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
think there was just a thought that if you were the press secretary and therefore in this like very powerful job and you were a woman, that you needed to look kind of older or more like stately.
Yeah, if you're like in a more public facing role, that suddenly there needs to be like frills and flounces on things.
Yeah, and like bustly blouses.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like, realistically, I'd be wearing slacks and like a shirt.
Yeah, it's like suddenly we almost need to like apologize for this woman being in like a public facing powerful role by putting her in like very frilly feminine looks, whereas Annette Bening was just allowed to be in, as we were saying, kind of like sleeker clothes.
Yeah, but it still seemed like more professional in a way.
But I wonder if that's from our like modern day perspective, whereas like at that time, did women need to, if they were in a public facing role, be dressed in a more outwardly feminine way? Potentially.
So narrative wise, we've met all our characters. We are approaching re-election. We have done first term with 3 years in. We want to get President Shepherd in again. His approval ratings, Lee, they've never been higher. They're flying high. Now, he's got a big crime bill that he wants to get through.
Which sounds suspiciously like Bill Clinton's big crime bill.
How funny, how interesting. So we want to get that through because that's what's going to sail us through this election, basically. Now, bubbling underneath this is an environmental bill, which hasn't yet been sent to Congress. And who's working on that? But GDC. Yeah, the GDC are working on it, and they've pulled in their hard hitter, their closer. She's a closer, Susan. She gets the job done. They've pulled in Sydney Ellen Wade. Sydney Ellen Wade has been brought in to close the deal, which is what prompts our meet cute, which is that Sydney has been brought to the White House to have a meeting with AJ, aka Martin Sheen, about why they should send the bill to Congress and stop talking about the crime bill and start talking about the fact that the world is ending, which is true. Our intro to Annette Bening's character is very Sally from When Harry Met Sally coded, which is like...
Truly.
It's very Meg Ryan. We're like fumbling with papers. Forgive me, it's my first time at the White House and I'm trying to savor the Capra-esque quality.
And I will just say, for goodness sake, Aaron, because then her colleague is saying he's not going to, about the security guard.
Yeah.
He's not going to know who Capra is. And then Aaron feels the need to explain his own reference through the voice of the security guard who's like checking Annette Bening's bag. And it's like, honey, if you have to explain the joke.
Is it in fact a joke?
Because your references are so niche that you need to explain them to the audience. You need to invent a speaking character in order to explain a single joke. Please, Aaron, you're above this.
I frankly am like, keep doing it. Because it's really funny. But I think the thing I like most about Sydney is she is just a rom-com character through and through.
Yes.
Every aspect of her life, her aesthetic, every line that leaves her mouth, rom-com character. And it's like, if Sydney hadn't entered this film, would it have just been a political drama? Is she actually just this catalyst that then makes everyone act crazy? My answer is yes. Because she's having this meeting where she is absolutely going to town, tearing apart AJ.
And Martin Sheen's really enjoying himself. He's kind of turned on by it. He's like, oh, go you.
Yeah. She's like,
tear me a new one.
She's being a closer. And she's like, oh, what do you want me to do? Whistle a happy tune for this pitiful environmental progress just because the president's a nice guy who's done better than his predecessors? Cue, obviously, President Shepherd walking into the room unseen behind her and like listening to her like tearing him apart. No one else responding until he interrupts, and then everyone going, oh, Mr. President, we didn't see you there. And then they just make googly eyes at each other for a while. I need to, about halfway through this film, I voice noted
Fiona, to be like, is what I'm watching in fact pornography? It is such an erotic film. The power play between these two from the moment they meet is outrageous.
They have phenomenal chemistry, those two actors. They're doing a really, really great job. But it essentially, as soon as those two characters meet each other, they're like, we're going to fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just wait. And it's like, from that moment onwards, everything is foreplay.
It's all foreplay.
It's so horny, Lee.
And especially the character of Andrew Shepherd as President of the United States is outrageous. Saying, please show Miss Wade to the rec room, and then having someone lead her to the Oval Office.
I have no notes.
He might as well have taken her aside and been like, are you aware that I have a huge penis?
Yeah. Or like, there are so many places I could take you in this building and no one would know. We could do whatever we wanted. Like, and now, Sydney is a powerful woman, but even she is intoxicated by the power of the president's horniness. He asks her out. She kind of shouts at him. Then she tries to leave the Oval Office and he's like, that's a closet. We have a classic kind of comedy gold moment where she's like, I see. I logged at this point, obviously, that Sydney's a redhead. And I was like, I think at this point, Aaron, it's just a fetish.
Yeah. True.
What's the deal with redheads?
He loves a redhead.
Like, I mean, we know they're fiery.
Statistically, they are such a small part of the population.
And yet there's apparently a huge population of them in DC working at the White House.
Exclusively female. Exclusively female.
Never a male redhead. Have we ever had a male redhead in the West Wing?
No.
Just many, many women wearing lovely camisoles.
Including one literal childhood Annie.
Yeah, amazing. Sydney's like, I'm going to go now. And Andrew Shepherd's like, okay, well, guess I'm just going to think about you all day and play pool with my buddy Martin Sheen. And then like the playing of the pool where they're playing pool really well and then AJ like mentions Sydney's name and he like, Andrew Shepherd like messes up his go because he's so distracted by the thought of her.
Jesus Christ.
And then he says, we had a nice couple of minutes together. She threatened me. I patronized her. We didn't have anything to eat, but I thought there was a connection.
And then AJ, in an insane move, offers to get the president, quote, some female companionship, which was
female
by
companionship
far
you're after.
The most horrifying portion of this film for me. Is it part of the chief of staff's role to get a single president an escort?
Yeah, like I would love to know about who, if the president were to hire a sex worker, who is doing the legwork on that? I'm interested because this film's saying that it's the chief of staff. Chief of staff, also the president's best friend. The amount of times it was like, you know that I know you're my chief of staff, AJ, but you're also my best friend.
They also have almost the exact conversation that Leo and Jed end up having.
About not using names.
About not using his name and saying...
It's like, you don't call me Andy anymore.
Yeah. It's like, honey, Aaron, you fully just recycled a whole scene of dialogue.
There's some cutting and pasting going on from this, for sure.
I don't think I didn't notice a proportional response also. We also had a reference to a Senator Stackhouse at one point. I was like, oh, for goodness sake.
Come on, my love. Let's be better than this. But also, it is really good, so just use it again. As Nora Ephron, queen of romantic comedies, says, everything is copy.
It's true.
He's just staying true to the genre, Lee. I liked when he was proffered female companionship that Shepard's response was, I don't want you to get me a girl, AJ. This isn't Vegas. Which is really funny to me because I'm like, this doesn't... You know, sex workers don't just only exist in Vegas.
It is very funny.
Like, it is very funny.
I suppose it is legal in the state of Nevada, though. So maybe that's why.
So maybe that's why, in order to make it a joke, it had to be based upon something legal. Now, President Shepherd is like crushing hard on Sydney. And I would just like to know that he met her for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to spend my life with this woman. And I will clock a fun Aaron Sorkin line where President Shepherd's like, this is not the business of the American people. And AJ says, with all due respect, sir, the American people have a funny way of deciding on their own what is and what is not their business. And I was like, correct.
Very correct.
Now, should we cut to Annette Bening in her sister's apartment, absolutely losing her mind over the fact that she shouted at the president?
Which is when we fully go full When Harry Met Sally, I feel, on the film.
Yes.
It's like we are, oh no, we're not just following the president through the West Wing. We're also going to follow Sydney Ellen Wade in her most Sally of When Harry Met Sally moments.
Yes. So to paint a picture, we're in a gorgeous DC apartment. The apartment is just like quintessential romantic comedy. Her sister is chopping veggies in a plaid shirt. It's getting lesbian. I think we can just say that that's a lesbian.
Yeah.
From our intuition.
Honestly, also, they had chemistry through this whole scene. And before it became clear that it was her sister, I was like, plot
Housemate.
twist, Sydney Ellen Wade has a lesbian partner.
Imagine. It would have been a very long and different film. But I loved the fact that she's got like her briefcase in front of her and she's got a stack of paperwork. She's in her jammies. Her hair is like wet from the shower.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. Like, I loved when romantic comedies were like this.
Yes.
Because that's what you do. You'd come home from a long day at work. You'd be like, well, I'm not going to sit here in a suit. I'm going to have a shower. I'm going to put my pajamas on, even though it's like 8 o'clock in the evening. And I'm going to be on the phone to my boss talking about this thing that we didn't get right today.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to accidentally get called by the president of the United States and assume it's my boss doing an impression of the president. So then I'm really rude to him. That bit is so funny.
So funny.
Like at that skit around him ringing her and her thinking it's her boss doing an impression.
So good.
So good.
It's so good. Should we move on to their first date at a state dinner?
I think it's only right. So, Lee, if you were to be asked on a date by the president of the United States, not the current one, but just by a fictional one, and they were to say, look, it's going to be a state dinner with the president of France, how would you feel about that?
Now, the sensible side of me would be like, can't we have like a chilled dinner in the residence first, so that this isn't like the first evening we're spending together is in front of the world's press.
In fact, the longest period of time you'll have spent with him.
Yeah, ever.
Because previously you've met him for 5 minutes.
But the toxic side of me would be like, this is my moment to shine. I'm going to be the mystery Cinderella girl. And I'm going to look phenomenal.
Now, should we talk about the gown?
Yeah.
I was scared when she came in wearing the stole. Because I know how we feel about stoles. I was like, oh no, is it some sort of like hideous wrap dress that's like all over her shoulders? But it turns out that like the kind of wrap was thankfully kind of thrown to one side quite quickly. And it was just an Anastasia gown.
Yes. It was an Anastasia gown.
Now, I need people to understand what an Anastasia gown is, and that is the fact that you need to go back to the animated film Anastasia, which, first of all, is an absolute romp. Also, shout out Meg Ryan voicing Anastasia. It's so good. I weep every time I watch it. Also, she wears this amazing blue gown in it, which is basically what Annette Bening is wearing in this. And when I was a child, my boyfriend from, I believe we were in like kind of preschool, so like kindergarten, maybe like first year of primary school, bought me, but his mum bought me that Barbie, the Anastasia Barbie, for my birthday. Could I tell you that boy's name? No. I literally cannot remember what
Shame on you, Fiona.
But Lee, do I still have that Barbie?
Do you?
Yes, I do. I love her. She's in mint condition. I love those. I should have known. I'm not interested in men, but I love beautiful women. Obviously, I'm interested in one man, which is the one that I'm legally bound to.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the be all and end all. She looks amazing.
Mhm.
Not a chilled moment in sight. They're literally at the table with the French president and his wife.
Mhm.
Q, obviously Sydney speaking fluent French.
Yeah.
And what's wild is that there's not a translator at the table.
The fact that there's not an interpreter is crazy.
Yeah, they're like, oh, she's saying like, oh, the president looks kind of bored, and Shepard's like, well, I don't speak French. And it's like, well, this is a huge pitfall of whoever the social secretary is. But then seemingly the president of France is also fluent in English. So anyway, I feel like we shouldn't pull too much of that thread or the whole thing's going to fall down.
I will just say that I love that the subtitles when Sydney was speaking just say speaks French. And I was like, how are we now talking about Marie Antoinette? Like, where did that come from?
If there are any French speakers out there who have watched this film, is that good and correct French is what I would like to know.
I would love to know that, yeah. And this is when the sex games intensify. Because
so now it's kind of like quite public foreplay.
Yeah.
And I don't wish to be crudely, but may I?
Please.
I feel like when they're dancing, she's wet.
I do apologize, dear listener. No, but
am
seriously,
I wrong? Leah, she's panting.
She's the breathless. This is when the breathlessness begins
in his
from
arm.
Sydney.
Obviously, they're just like flawlessly waltzing. They're the only people who are dancing. It's very uncomfortable. It's like the whole room staring at them. This is just stupid. She's in his breath, like quivering and panting.
She's literally panting. And then she also just obviously keeps calling him Mr. President and Sir, but while breathless. And it is kinky as hell.
But I'm like, I get it. I kind of get it. And like, he's a fit president.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like giving it all that chat in her ear while they're up waltzing against each other. But yeah, that was my hot take. I'm so sorry. Lee was so disgusted by that. But you know what? You know I'm right.
Yeah.
Like, that's what she's playing. That's what Annette Bening is playing.
Mm-hmm. To quote Love Island, she's 1000% got fanny flutters.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
It's the day after. The president is awash with the glow of new love.
Yeah.
He's just sort of not really doing his job as president from this point onwards, I would say.
No. I will say that Janie, the EA, just snaps for Janie, was literally obsessed with her from start to finish. She had a very Gen Z energy for me, which I was like, wow, ahead of your time.
Yeah, like she was like giving, I'm 22.
Yeah.
And I'm the president's EA. I've got a cunty short little fringe and a pair of beautiful round glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And when everyone's asking me, like, what's the president doing? Why is he behaving that way? She literally responds with, I'm not really at liberty to say.
Yeah, love it. Obsessed. A boundaried queen.
She's just like, hey,
an excellent
give the guy some
woman.
space. Come on. He then tries to order flowers. Now, what I do appreciate is he's like, I want to order the flowers because I fancy her, which is very nice. But then he doesn't really understand that he's the president. And he's like, where are my credit cards? And she's like, in your house, like locked up. You don't have credit cards. You're the president.
Storage in Wisconsin.
Which is funny. We then cut to Sydney in her office, kind of having like a big like chat with her boss called Leo, recycling of a name, who is played by the dad from Frasier.
Oh, yes.
Who I love. And who I feel like I wanted to see more of. We heard a lot about Leo being angry or having meetings with Leo, but we really only had like 2 scenes with him, which feels a shame.
So she wasn't on the phone with him in her kind of rom-com moment in the apartment. She was on the phone with Richard, who's like the guy who works under her.
Who they have lots of banter.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Who's always like, hey, where are you going tonight? The White House? And she's like, maybe.
And he's like, I'll be at the Kremlin. Lol.
It's a hell of a commute from Russia. Yeah.
I will say Sydney is glowing. And also she is wearing the most incredible brown pinstripe suit I've possibly perchance ever seen.
Now, talking about the glowing, we've done state dinner. We've been driven home. Has sister stayed up for debrief?
Oh, your sister is going on a date with the president of the United States. I'm staying up.
I'm awake. I am putting the kettle on as I hear the key in the door.
If Hannah was going on a date with the president of the United States, you would be so excited you wouldn't be able to sleep. There's just no way.
I would be in my gym jams. There would be candles lit because I would be hosting myself. I would have had a glass of wine while I was waiting. She would have texted me being like, I'm in the limo on my way back. The tea would be brewing. Mm-hmm. She would come through the door. I'd be pouring out a cup. Blow by blow.
Fully. Leo then says the immortal line, I hired a pit bull, not a prom queen.
Which I think I might get tattooed on my body. which is I love to think of myself as like kind of a girl boss, but not in a toxic way. And actually just I'm kind of a silly little woman. So I kind of love I hired a pit bull, not a prom queen. Because what's wrong with being a prom queen, Leo? What's wrong with fucking the president?
Now, I think the time has come for me, unless you have any further points, to discuss the president's daughter, Lucy, and her array of lesbian outfits.
Yes, shall we? So we're going to go for dinner at the residence this time. Just a simple meatloaf dinner.
It's meatloaf night, as if.
It's meatloaf night. My beer, my chili, my daughter, my friends. So it's just Lucy and Andrew and Sydney having meatloaf.
Another intense date. So we've gone first date, state dinner. Second date, meet my daughter.
Who I had with my wife who died.
Of cancer.
Yeah.
That girl has some trauma.
Yeah, but she's very well rounded, considered.
She is a kind of classic 90s
child
almost
character.
Creepy adult child character.
Very, very kind of like Mara Wilson in Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah, where it's like, I have no childish reactions. In fact, I have no selfish emotions of any kind.
No, I'm just kind of like an altruistic being who speaks like an adult, but is a child, and therefore that's kind of funny and amusing and endearing.
Yes, yes.
But shall we talk about the fit?
Yes, just immediately
Lucy's outfit.
In a huge shoulder and waistcoat.
She has her hair in a single braid.
Very off the time.
She's wearing slacks as a child. She is wearing a collarless pale blue shirt.
A granddad collar, famously known as a granddad collar.
And then a fun kind of patchwork ragdoll-esque waistcoat.
A kind of quilted waistcoat, if you will.
Yeah, just a simple waistcoat for home.
I know it was the 90s, and I know that, like...
I don't think children dress like that.
I just feel like you're at home practicing your trombone after school.
Trombone, also gay.
Gay.
She's going to be in band. Gay.
Those music practice rooms,
things happened.
They were a queer space.
They were a queer, safe space for kissing.
I just feel like even in the 90s and even in the West Wing, surely you'd be in like kind of loungewear.
Honestly, Lee, she'd just be wearing jeans, a t-shirt and a sweater. Like that's what children wear. Like, or maybe even because it's the 90s, like a legging and an oversized jumper. Like we could have done that. Why on earth is she wearing slacks? Why on earth is she wearing a patchwork? She's dressed like a doll.
You know what? Actually, that is also very Mara Wilson in Miracle on 34th Street, who's just always in formal attire at all times.
She's always in like a little formal velvet dress and tights.
Which also is kind of how I wanted to live at that age. So I was
really confused as a child as to why I didn't have the life that Mara Wilson had in Miracle on 34th Street. But that's something for me and my therapist to talk about. So we meet Lucy. Lucy, again, as we say, very well-rounded, is just like, Sydney seems nice. I'm glad that you're happy, father.
Said no child with a dead mother ever.
No. Meanwhile, we cut to just all Republicans in a kind of leather and mahogany clad smoking room, just going, sounds like the president's got a girlfriend, which is lame, but also fair. Fun, cute bit is Shepard saying, she says, oh, I did like the $20 tour of the White House. or whatever. And he says, oh, do you want the 25-cent tour?
That is
and
cute.
like, which is cute. And then like he's walking around and calls the china room the plate room.
The dish room.
The dish room, which is very cute and funny.
Yeah.
And then they kiss, and then a Secret Service agent comes in and is like, a war's broken out.
Which
like,
I think feels real.
Which does feel real. And he's like, so sorry, I'm going to have to go now and like deal with this international conflict.
Yeah.
Which also is kind of hot.
It is.
He coordinates an attack. Classic. This is the proportional response moment.
Yes, we have the proportional response moment.
Someday
famously.
somebody's going to have to explain to me the virtue of a proportional response.
Now, I simply must get to speaking about Sydney arrives back at the West Wing, I believe the following day.
Yes, to break up with the president.
To break up with the president because she's concerned about the impact that it's going to, quite rightly, she's concerned about the impact it's going to have on her career.
And his.
Yeah. And this is when the kind of pornographic element of this film really begins without us actually having to see anything at all.
It's so hot and heavy, and we don't see anyone with any clothes off.
It's the horniest scene I've ever watched.
She's like trying to break up with him. Like first of all, she's taken to the residence, and the room that she's taken to is just simply his bedroom.
His bedroom.
Which is crazy. Obviously, he has a sofa in there, like a couch. But also, I'm like, his bed is there. And she's like, oh, we can't do this. This is like really dumb. And look, I'm taking my career very seriously. And he just cuts her off and goes, are you attracted to me?
Mm-hmm.
Just leaves her out there. And then he says, do you know what your problem is?
What's my problem?
Sex and nervousness.
Sex and nervousness is my problem? Mr. President, please.
You're the leader of the free world. How dare you? He then goes on to talk about the fact that like when people have previously fucked presidents, they've fucked them before they were presidents.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe the reason why she's so nervous is because like she's basically stepping into uncharted territory that like no woman has ever stepped into, which is so funny and horny.
She then is like, let me go freshen up. He's then like monologuing, being like, let me clear some things up. Number one, I seldom prance, which is giving fuckboy energy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then he's like, look, he's just like monologuing to himself. And he's like, this is my theory. Like, this is my play. The play is we're going to do the go slow play, which is we're just going to continue to date each other. And like, we're just going to like take things slow. This doesn't have to like escalate too quickly. Cue.
She just walks out in just a white shirt and nothing else. Which is the fittest thing a woman has ever done. It's
always the best look. Yeah. Women in rom-coms wearing a man's shirt and nothing else. Top tier. Top tier. And then they just like start making out. And then it just sort of like cuts to the next morning in a classic rom-com way. Like there's no sex scene.
No. And yet I feel I've witnessed something very dirty.
Filth. Absolute filth. He's like, and also it's about, he's like, I just want to let you know that like I haven't done this in a long time. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, Andy.
And she's like feeling how firm the mattress is as he says this.
It's crazy.
Seeing how much like bounce it has. I can't.
It's crazy. And the thing is did I spend some time thinking about what they could have done? Yes. Do I hate myself for that? Not as much as I should, maybe. Now, we simply must talk about the fact that the next, I don't know if it's the next morning or like a couple of times later. No, it is the next morning. There's a phone call. It's like 5 a.m. It's Lewis going, she stayed over. I'm coming over. And then what's very funny is that Lewis, Robin, and AJ and Janie all come into the president's bedroom whilst she's like getting dressed.
Iconic.
And the president's in his boxers.
Yeah.
Having like both freshly fucked. Like imagine Lee the morning after you've absolutely been railed.
And you know she was.
Of the United States. You know she was. And you know he was too.
Yeah. I mean, famously, you know about Michael Douglas.
Famously, we know that Michael Douglas can fuck. It's funny. The Republicans are still being embarrassing. The kind of guy who's the Republican candidate is very embarrassing.
Can we discuss the fact that his campaign slogan is Pride is back?
Pride is back, which is super funny.
It's so funny.
Really funny, but we really can't reflect on that because I can't stop thinking about them having sex. But we get dirt. So the Republicans are like trying to trash, because basically Shepard is unbeatable. The only weak link in his armor is his character.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he's like a widower who's dating,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, this is where we can get him. Like, let's tear down the woman that he's with.
Mm-hmm.
So they find out that like back when she was in like her 20s, she went to a anti-apartheid protest.
Fair play.
And burnt a flag.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not great to do some flag burning. I mean, that's like cannon fodder for the Republicans. Meanwhile, Sydney, we didn't talk about the kind of main plot line was when they had their 5 minutes when they first met, Sydney was like, don't give up on this environmental bill. And he was basically like, if you can get X amount of votes, I'll put it to Congress.
The film doesn't really care about that much. And so I feel we don't really need to either.
Really. Anyway, she's doing very well. And this is when we sort of go into a montage, time passing montage.
Mm-hmm.
And also so many good fits in that. Like
so many good fits, so many good waistcoats.
Where she's getting like papped by the press and she's wearing this black beret and a camel coat, which is incredible. There's a grey pantsuit, which is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it's all kind of getting a bit too much. Like he's losing points by the day. He's
lost 20 points in the
which
6
is crazy.
Weeks that they've been seeing each other.
That's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his theory is like, I don't want to like air my dirty laundry in public. Like, I'm just not going to say anything.
The classic when they go low, we go high approach, I feel, from the Democrats.
Which kind of clearly isn't paying off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the holiday season, Lee.
It's the most wonderful time
of the year. In order to get away from it all, we're just going to take a quick helicopter ride to Camp David, which for me was too much. Then there's a crazy storyline which is not followed through. So Sydney and Andy are like snuggled up on the sofa together in Camp David. Lucy nowhere to be seen. They're watching the TV, like a late night news show, and Rumson? Is that the name of the bad guy?
Rumson, yeah.
Senator Rumson is played amazingly by Richard Dreyfuss, doing a lovely job, is shit-talking Sydney and basically insinuates on television that she's getting support for the bill by sleeping with people.
I think a previous bill that she'd garnered support for as a lobbyist, not the current one, but still...
Crazy.
And
then for the love of, thankfully, Sydney just takes a second to stop panting and like does speak up a bit and has a bit of like a, can you not see how difficult this is for me moment, which I appreciated because she was kind of quite passive as a character. Like at some point we need Andy to stop seeing the sunny side because like she's like, this is really tough for me. And he's like, everything's going to work out, babe.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a big group scene in the Oval Office where we all get very upset. And basically, led by Lewis, Michael J. Fox, he's like, you need to dump her. It's ruining your campaign. It's a great scene, that scene.
Yeah.
He does this like long-winded monologue where he's like, people are heading towards this mirage of water, thinking there's water, but when they get there, it's not water, but they're just going to drink the sand because they're so thirsty. And then Shepard is like, Lewis, we've had presidents who are beloved who couldn't find a coherent sentence with 2 hands and a flashlight.
And to think George W. and Trump hadn't even been president yet at this point.
Yeah, that's wild. Again, Sorkin seeing the future. And then he says, people don't drink the sand because they're thirsty. They drink the sand because they don't know the difference. And that made me feel unwell.
I think the less time we spend kind of pondering that, probably the better.
The conclusion of said meeting, where in fact we all shout in the Oval Office, which famously we know we don't do, is that Sydney accidentally gave some info about 3 senators that basically, if Shepard shelved the environmental bill, these senators would support the big crime bill.
Yes.
And so the plan is we're going to send Sydney's bill down the river and we're going to get the big crime bill passed and that's going to win us the election. And then people will get over the Sydney relationship with the president. Now, understandably, this doesn't go down well with Sydney. And she once again returns to the White House to break up with the president.
Because she's just been fired.
Yeah, because Leo's called her into office and been like, you basically traded secrets with the president and you fucked up not your work, all of our work.
Yeah.
For the last however many months.
And she's doing a very classic, like, I'm going to hyper-focus on one detail, which in this case is her sister's sweater that she's looking for in the president's bedroom that she had borrowed because she's going to move to Connecticut to get a new job and in the process break up with him. And he's trying to talk to her and win her back as his girlfriend. And she is just looking for the sweater for the whole scene, which is a lovely game for the scene. And then eventually she just says, oh, fuck the sweater. She'll have to live with the disappointment, which is one of my favorite all-time lines of dialogue from Aaron Sorkin at this point.
Yeah. Like as she's like slamming shut a drawer. It's a very good breakup scene. And they do kind of break up.
Yeah.
Then there's a really good scene between Michael Douglas and Martin Sheen where they also have a little bit of a fallout, AJ and Andy. And there's some fucks being thrown around. Like quite a lot of fucks being dropped in this film.
Truly.
And you just don't get that in the West Wing. Like there isn't a lot of foul language. You get craps and I think you get like the odd shit.
I guess that's the difference between like
TV and
wanting
film.
to be on primetime TV versus like a movie that can have a particular age guidance. Yeah.
But also the added pressure is obviously that the State of the Union is tomorrow.
Classic.
We love a time pressure. So that cues the kind of grand gesture, as you put it, in the shared doc, which we always need in a rom-com to win back the girl, which is Robin is running a press briefing and the president just takes the stage. How do we feel about that, Lee?
It's very funny that it is almost exactly the same setup as Red, White and Royal Blue, which we famously ripped to shreds.
Yeah, this speech, it's a long speech that he does.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Aaron Sorkin had such a great day in front of his typewriter that day. He was loving it. Where he's basically like, I'm going to shit talk Rumson. I'm going to attack his character. And you think this is a problem with my character? Well, let me tell you something about Sydney Allen Wade. And then like puts her up on a pedestal. I've loved 2 women in my life. I lost one to cancer and I lost the other because I was so busy keeping my job, I forgot to do my job. Well, that ends right now.
Wow.
This is a time for serious people, Bob, and your 15 minutes are up. My name is Andrew Shepard, and I am the president. Good God. Oh, there's another like scary Aaron Sorkin kind of like really getting a finger on the pulse moment here, which freaked me the fuck out, which was, I've known Bob Rumson for years, and I've been operating under the assumption that the reason Bob devotes so much time and energy to shouting at the rain was that he simply didn't get it. Well, I was wrong. Bob's problem isn't that he doesn't get it. Bob's problem is that he can't sell it. We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them. And whatever your particular problem is, I promise you, Bob Rumson is not the least bit interested in solving it. He's interested in 2 things and 2 things only, making you afraid of it and telling you who's to blame for it.
Yeah.
And that is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Because that's it. That's politics right now in America.
Yeah.
We have problems coming out of our pockets, and there's not even a single piece of energy being given to solve those problems. It is all about making us afraid of those problems and telling us who's to blame for it, but no action. And I honestly paused and rewound that and listened to it like 2 times because I've been, as we all have been, so fucking enraged and scared and upset by the news globally at the moment, but by how many people are now living in fear in America and are having their rights stripped away from them. And it just felt like Aaron Sorkin in 1995 has voiced the problem that we still have now in 2025, which is the most dangerous people in politics aren't people who are interested in doing anything at all.
No.
So yeah, that was my mic drop moment of the whole film. And then we kind of came back to it being a rom-com classically. So we had this amazing kind of political moment of diatribe in where Aaron Sorkin pulled apart modern politics and like held it under the microscope. And then he just finishes that speech, is going straight to the State of the Union, Sydney has been collected and brought to him, and he gives her roses.
Well, it turns out I've got a rose garden.
Amazing. Just very, very good. Very good. And then they just walk into the State of the Union together. And that's the end of the film.
Stunning. I mean, yeah, it is absolutely wild that this film is almost as old as you and I both are. And yet the words in that final moment are still proving so prescient today.
Yeah. I feel like it's important because we got asked by so many people to watch this film to say, I loved this film.
Yeah, I had a great time.
I'll be watching it again. I thought it was so well written. There was so many witty lines. I had so many favorite moments. Yeah, it's going into, I mean, if I fall across a DVD of it in a charity shop, it'll be coming home with me.
Yeah, and I feel great about this being kind of our springboard back into the West Wing, starting season 3.
I know, I'm so excited. Should we just do our quick fires, Lee?
Yes, absolutely. Best fashion for me is a toss-up between Sydney's brown pinstripe suit and her second date look when she comes to the residence, and she has on like a black skirt suit with, I think it's like a cream pussy bow, just barely visible underneath the oversized blazer, and she looks incredible.
And like the most perfect 90s semi-sheer tights.
Yes.
Tights in the 90s were just...
so good.
So good.
Better quality, some might say, than they are today.
I think you're right. My best fashion was, I think, the pinstripe brown suit as well, but very closely followed by the kind of black beret, sunglasses, camel coat look as she's being papped, because that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And also just shout out to Nothing But the White Shirt.
Yeah. Wow.
Queerest moment that never intended to be queer. My vote is Lucy's patchwork waistcoat.
That's really real. I think we should also give honorable mention to the trombone. And I would also like to mention just the loving looks between Sydney and her sister.
Yes.
Which I think that actor maybe had a crush on Annette Bening, because
don't we all?
There was a spark there for me, despite the fact that they were supposed to be siblings.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of like looks that were like, "You crazy girl, I don't get it," but you know, you're happy, you crazy kid. Man, I feel like a man.
Oh, so many to choose from. I think for me, it's gonna have to go to I Hired a Pitbull, not a Prom Queen.
Yeah, stunning. Again, hold me back from going to the tattooist with that one. Mine was from Michael J. Fox as Lewis, where they're having their big argument in the Oval Office, and he's like, "Oh, yes, he does, AJ. I'm a citizen. This is my president. And in this country, it's not only permissible to question our leaders, it's our responsibility." I was just like, yeah, that's just so masculine to be like, I can shout at the president because I'm an American.
Yeah.
And what was the moment that made you proudest to be an American, Lee?
Are you attracted to me?
Wow. Just cutting her off as she's like really trying to explain her piece and talk about her career and like what she wants from life. Are you attracted to me? Good God. Mine was the kind of sign off of his big speech, which was, "This is a time for serious people, Bob, and your 15 minutes are up. My name is Andrew Shepard and I am the president."
Yeah, it's really real.
Because it's both patriotic and like hot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not to reduce everything.
Yeah, it's very much like, let me show you who's really daddy.
Yeah, it's very that. Truly. And I just feel like this is the origin of the Jed Bartlett daddy energy.
Yes. And
perhaps Martin Sheen saw Michael Douglas doing this performance and was like, I'll just log that.
Yeah, it's just going to live right up here.
I'm going to play Jed Bartlett as if I am Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Which is iconic.
Yeah.
I've had such a wonderful time, Lee. And I feel stoked. I feel psyched. I feel pumped to get back to...
R.I.P. Mandy.
R.I.P. Mandy in Mandyland. To get back to our kids in the West Wing.
Yes.
To absolutely launch ourselves into season 3.
And our own re-election campaign.
Yes. Oh my God. This is fate. I've had such a fun time going to the movies with you, Lee,
Yes.
and all of the amazing guests that we've had along the way on this series. It has been deeply frivolous of us. So I'm really grateful to any of you who are still listening. We just needed a little sabbatical, I think. And now we are ready and raring to get back to the Bartlett campaign, to let Bartlett be Bartlett and get this election in the bag.
Truly, I'm ready to see CJ again. I'm ready to check in on Charlie.
There's so much still to happen in the show, and I love that we do this and that we're watching this amazing TV show that is so beloved by so many people, and we get to be really silly and say very unsensible things about it, and that you guys find that semi-interesting. So thanks for all the support. We love hearing from you guys, and also like we are really, really grateful to the support from all our patrons on Patreon who are helping us do this.
Yes.
And yeah, we're just like really excited for the next step of the journey.
Yes. You can follow us at Queer Gals Watch, wherever you get your socials. Also, feel free to pop us an email, queergalswatch@gmail.com. If you, obviously, with the coming season 3, we will be diving back into our study sessions. So if you have a particular study session that you think would suit a particular episode, please feel free to give me little suggestions/requests.
Because much like we were mentioning earlier, like we have kind of been on our summer holidays, that like kind of mentally on a summer holiday, and I'm going to be going back to school as we go back to season 3, and I need Lee to understand that I've forgotten everything that I learned.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week for season 3.